lose for you. Yes, I do. I'm like your angel of love, girl. I've come to see you through. So when you cry, let me wipe your tears. When you're scared, I wanna be there to calm your fears. When you're in need, baby, ring my phone. I'll run right over and we'll make love all night long.
What it is, what it is, what it is.
What it do?
How's everybody, man?
Great.
Golden.
Yeah, we are honored to not only have a special and interesting guest on the show, but we also get to hang out with one of our favorite returning guests.
And our favorite Roberson.
And our favorite Roberson brother, Dave Roberson. What's cracking, man? How you doing?
What's good, man? Happy to be back in the cave with the fellas, man. Bounce around a little testosterone. You know how it goes.
Hey, man, it's real good to see your handsome face, man. And you better looking than your brother. But don't tell him that we said that.
I got to give my brother some slack, man. He's the man, man. He's the man.
That's what he tells us, but we know the truth.
Yeah. He is indeed that, man. Y'all look good, man. Good to see you all. Hey, do I sound any different? I'm trying to do something different with my microphone.
Yes, Sean, you sound wonderful.
Yeah, you sound good.
Your nose is growing, Glenn.
Well, I know.
Is there a mute button?
Wow.
Use that, Sean. There you go. Use the mute button.
Wow. I thought we were friends. It's harsh.
We're good. We're good.
Look, I thought y'all were going to give me some love, man, on the fact that, I'm casual.
We see that.
This may be the second or third time in 3 years, I rocked the cap or something,
Yeah.
Trying to lighten up. I'm in my Bears mode, too, so.
Yeah,
so you're feeling a little losery today, huh? Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's how it's going to be. Anyway, man.
Early and often.
Let's get into the show, man, before you make me lose what little religion I do have left. Who is on a respirator? But I understand that we have, man, an exciting guest that first-time guest that is already shown himself to be a really cool presence, man. I'm looking forward to it. So, production team, let's get it.
Tonight's guest is Adam Comer, and as you can see, this brother's a trucker, lives in that truck, works in that truck, and of course, makes money in that truck as well. But that's not what he's known for. He's known for cooking, believe it or not. This dude has 300,000 followers for making meals like that. But hey, I guess it pays off. Make meals like that, you look like this. Well, wait a minute, 4 years ago. Well, what are you doing today, Adam? Oh, you're on the grill. Hope you got shorts under there, man. Oh, Lord. Did you skip ab day, man? See, all you missing now is some white socks. Oh, damn. There they go. Well, anyway, welcome to... There. That's better. That's so much better. Look at this. Adam done come up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the cave. Adam Comer.
Our producer is a hater. Our producer is a big-time hater. We can see.
Hey, Adam, man, don't take it personally, man. Roger gets to have a little fun, man, and hopefully, man, this won't be your last time on, so you can figure out some way to get him back. We can't hear you. You're muted. Let me see. Can we hear you now? Say something, Adam. That's odd because we could just hear you a minute ago.
Did Roger mute him too? He probably did.
So we'll bring you back in.
Yeah. We'll bring him back in, man.
So not only did our producer shade him, he muted him.
I guess I'm cool with not having an intro, man, if that's the trade-off.
Right. He's getting people out left to right.
If
I
that's
can.
what it,
Okay.
that's what it comes
There we
with.
go. We can hear you
I
now.
don't know that
All
that's
right.
Can we hear him now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome back.
Good to meet you, man. Good to have you on the show. As a first time guest, man, we usually give you about a minute, man, to kind of tell everybody who you are, what you do, where they can find you, if they're vehicles that they can support you and support what you're doing. Share that info as well. But go ahead, man. Let the world that's watching know who you are.
Hey, everybody. My name is Adam Comer. I reside in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a truck driver by trade. I'm also a social media influencer. My social media handles are all the same. AC2 code, TOO code. That's pretty much it about me.
Roger, put that up on the screen so we can see how his AC2 codes. We can see how his followership grows from hanging out with the fellas. Maybe ours will grow from hanging out with him. Hey man,
AC2 code. Okay.
AC2 code.
All right, brother.
Should be spelling that with a K, but we won't get into it. Hey, I really don't mean to come out the gate with no foolishness, but you know what I mean.
But don't be foolish in a minute.
But as he pours his drink,
That mean where they say, look, don't you be out there entertaining them H's, and then the next thing you see the dude dance. Hey, I was thinking about something, man, and I'm just gonna come out with it, man. We all mature enough to accept the fact that Adam, you married?
No.
Okay. Dave, you're the only one that I don't want to see sleeping on the couch behind this conversation. So
Right.
We're always, man, sensitive to the fact that as mature men, and I'm sure the women that are listening feel the same. Everybody has a past, and they have a right to their past, and really it's up to you to make peace with their past, especially if they're bringing a great value to your life. But we also know that there's some gender disparities with the way some of the things in your past may be viewed. And so I want to know, man, does body count matter? Sometimes you don't, Adam said, God, and sometimes you don't know, what the body count might be. And then other times you may come across that information in a way that makes you uncomfortable. But if you move around, like, for example, I don't know if you originally from Chicago, Adam, but Robert and I have spent a lot of time in Chicago, and I'd say we run similar social networks, and as you move around, man, and the older you get, it's really impossible for you to come across a lady that hasn't dated somebody that and then with that reality, sometimes the extent of the dating becomes something that's wide known. And so with men, it's almost expected, a healthy body count, which is not cool, but just part of the way the world is set up. But does body count matter or bother you, or would it rule somebody out if they were a potential? And Dave, I'm gonna let you share your wisdom first, since you're not in any real danger. You've already signed on the dotted line and taken yourself out of that proverbial game.
I think our producer started drinking.
I know. Didn't you see that?
I saw that.
He's talking
about me, Roger. It's okay.
Yeah, but what do you think about it, Dave? I don't want you to speak on it because, again, I want you to sleep in the bed tonight. But what do you think about the body count phenomenon and the gender disparity that goes with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you talked about not being able to find somebody that hasn't dated one of your partners or somebody you know. That's why I had to go down to Memphis and grab my wife to make sure that I ain't have to worry about the market conditions. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm golden.
Your wife is from Memphis?
Yeah, wife from Memphis, man. I got a Southern belle, but
Okay.
yeah,
Hey, man,
I mean,
real talk, Dave. There was a time that I said I was not dating again unless I relocated or I happened to meet somebody that didn't have a long history in this city, you know, because I do. And it's not that you can't handle it as much as sometimes it just gets old. You know, it feels old, but
yeah, that can certainly play a factor. And I mean, with all of that said, I got to say I love my Chicago sisters. It's just something about them. It's cool to have that commonality and bond and vibe and all that stuff. So I can dig Chicago sisters at the same time too. So respect.
He didn't marry. What he's saying is he went to Memphis, my hometown, to get a woman.
Right. But I'll say real quick, and then I'll let y'all get into it. But in terms of the question, does body count matter? I would say it doesn't have to, but it can. So, I mean, it's a situation where, you know, you can have a good amount of numbers, and if you can deal with it being the other person, then it doesn't have to be a real big deal. But in terms of actually, can it matter? Sometimes, so it's not just the count itself, but sometimes that count is indicative of who that person is and what they're like.
How you racked up the numbers, Dave, ain't it? Kind of, you know, how you racked them up does come into play, you know.
And who you racked them up with.
Right.
How you rack them up, who you rack them up with, but also that can be indicative of future behavior too. Sometimes it's not out of your system. So that's just kind of letting you know of what might be, you know, coming forward.
The who can be unpacked, I think, in a couple of unique ways, to be honest with you, even more so than the number. I think there's some unique spins on the who, and I say that because I've spent a lot of time in church, and I'll tell that story after we let Adam, you know, share his piece on it. But I totally agree with you. Boy, those Roberson boys are mature, don't they? They boys bring a mature outlook to the subject matter, don't they?
I need a couple drinks to get ignorant, so give me a little time.
Adam,
early in the show.
Adam, what I'm looking at you, brother, and you look like you probably got a healthy body count. And as much as that doesn't sound like it, that's actually a compliment, you know.
Hey, not me.
But what do you think about it, man? First, the gender disparity, and then is that something that is significant for you as you date or whatever?
I think definitely it's significant for me because what happens is my ego comes into play. You know, I don't want to bring around the guys. Say you the guys, and I bring around my gal, and they like, dang, like we all done had her. You know what I'm saying? So then my ego comes into play because I don't want to be the one out of all of y'all that wifed her. You know, so I can say I do tend to gravitate towards women that are not from my city. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Milwaukee's a small city, so I guarantee you somebody that you touch, everybody's touched by now. You know, so when you get that woman from out of state, it's that wow factor. Like, damn, who is she? Wow, she's exotic. You know. So whereas when you get somebody from here, it's like, oh man, little Ray had her before, and then such and such had her too. So, and I mean, it's not okay because as men, we tend to have body counts, and it's kind of like a pat on the back, like, yeah, another notch on the back.
That's the disparity. Yeah, that's the disparity that I'm talking about.
But you know, as a woman, that's seen as like, I don't want to touch that, nasty, you know. But as men, it's like another notch on the belt. Yeah. But
I was just gonna say real quick, the challenge when you get that woman from out of town, she could have been a beast where she was, even more so.
Nobody where I'm from noticed she was a beast. That's all that matters to me.
That's all that matters.
Maybe that's why she left.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me. If I go to another state, all the dirt that I do at home does not follow me to another state. I'm a saint in another state.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes your reach can be broader than you think, and you work across states. So,
you're a trucker, Adam. You got a little dirt in every state.
Glenn, I hope they didn't write that song about Adam. You know the area codes.
Yeah. I can hear Nate Dogg singing now.
Right.
His theme song, right? Yeah, to me, it's like we've all heard, and this the cave, right? So we're just gonna say it like we're gonna say it. And I apologize, ladies, if I offend anyone. But coming up, yeah, we often hear that every woman has her phase. I won't say what the phase is called, but most of us have heard, that every woman.
You try to say women had a Santa Claus phase.
Yeah, there you go. And that includes, your sisters, your mama, your aunt, every woman that has had a phase, and so it's up to us to get past it. But I think how they went about getting it becomes significant, and you can encounter somebody and really early on tell if you need to worry about a reckless, let's call it a reckless body count, right? And then you have to decide. Everybody has a right, man, to change and grow and become different people. And I would say everybody on this screen has probably evolved, in some shape, form, or fashion. So I think those may be some of those spaces where men are seen as more frail than women, because that's something that they deal with out of the gate. They deal with that from us, at least that perception, even from their teenage years, right? And then us expecting this virtuous prize and then this unrelenting fidelity. I think that's part of the gender disparity. Robert, come on, man. What are you thinking?
You guys have said it already. I mean, it's the same thing, Adam. We go,
it's hard finding a woman that didn't date Robert in this city.
Well, we go to the club and everything
twice.
like that, and 3 times. And we tell our guys, hey man, I got a dime that's coming with me tonight. And then we walk in.
She more like a nickel.
We walk in, man, and then everybody's like, yeah, I had her last week. I mean, so yeah, it's an ego thing. But back in the day when I was dating before I was married, I might ask the woman questions like, you can't ask that today, but ask questions about, what does that body count look like for you, so that I could be aware. But we can't do that today because it's disrespectful, number one, and number two, people aren't honest. So I believe that out of state is probably the best way. You just fly them in, man, and hope that.
I've become more concerned with how well I know the people on the list. Like I don't really want to rub elbows that way. And I remember dating somebody that I knew, and I'm coming to you next, Glenn. I remember dating somebody that
Get ready.
That I knew it wasn't as much that they had an extensive body count as much as the context for their relationships with men was always watered down. And so they would call someone a friend that was really a lover, but it wasn't a relationship. And so you'd meet guys and she'd say, oh, that's my buddy, that's my friend. And then you find out later that they were actually more than friends in the sense that we understand friends to be. And
only lover friend.
And so, but she left the lover part out.
Right.
And so I remember her inviting me somewhere and me being very clear, like, look, if we're going into a setting where there are 2-3 guys that you have rolled around with, I need you to pull my coattail, because it's not that I want to know your business, but I don't want to be nuzzling up and rubbing elbows, with guys. And everybody in the room knows but me. And so then I'm kind of the dumb one. Like I'm the one that you're supposed to be covering and protecting, but these 3 cats all know that they smashed, and I'm the one sitting in the room playing cards, and I'm the clueless one. Something about that made me feel not protected.
Sean, for Glenn's entertainment, how many times has that happened?
Actually, that particular situation only happened one time with one lady, but and it was exacerbated because we ended based on that misrepresented context that she would push, and so I was kind of already forgiving her for that space. This was like our second go round, and I'm like, you're not getting ready to do that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be clear with me what's what, and if you can't, really, this is a baby you made. You made this hypersensitivity I have because you've put me in this situation before, right? And she kind of couldn't see that I was the one she wasn't protecting if she was willing to sit me in a small environment with 2 or 3 guys that she had laid with, and they all knew it, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm strong enough to handle knowing it, but don't have me out there like boo boo. You know, that's not cool. Glenn, what are you thinking?
You're so deep, Sean. It's just amazing. I just
That's not true.
Your conversation. That's all. I just sit back admiring you and your speech.
No, you're trying to answer that question. I know what deflection looks like.
Roger, really? Thank you. You spotlight me when I ask you to spotlight me. Don't spotlight me on stuff like this.
Right. It can go either way, Glenn.
Right.
You know, my strong Christian upbringing won't allow me to discuss this, and my pledge of purity makes my body count really low. I don't have to worry about it. But it's kind of like Chris Rock told a joke one time: women don't count who they had sex with; they only count the boyfriends. So I'm challenging you, women. I don't think y'all are honest about your body count.
Oh, definitely not.
I'm looking at you.
They're not honest, Adam, because they don't feel like we can handle it. I don't think
That's exactly what
they don't want the Santa Claus in them to come out and have you thinking about it. That's why they aren't honest about it. Let's just.
I mean, do you really want to know she had 17 one-night stands?
Right. I really don't. If you wanted to do a porno, or she was experimenting one night with her roommate.
Them personal private pornos ain't so bad. That's a totally different conversation.
I'm all for that.
Which part are you for? You want to know?
Adam just had a real honest moment right there. Like, hey,
he had a moment.
Yeah, Adam want to know. It's so funny, Sean, that you mentioned that, because I was out, with the woman that I was dating, and we were at a place, and I'm kicking it with the guys, and one of the guys that I was bonding with, and we exchanged numbers. We're talking about getting together, playing cards, and all this sort of stuff. Afterwards, though, she did say, "Hey, listen, I just want you to know, this was a guy, that I was kicking it with." And I'm like, oh my God. So, I mean, there is some honesty that has to happen in those situations, but it is kind of embarrassing when they don't.
But listen, Robert, even now in the comments, there are women that are suggesting we don't really want to know. Right? So even when we say we want to know, they don't believe that we really want to know.
You know what? Just say you dated somebody. We just gonna leave
we
it
don't
to
need to know all the details.
and let it go right there.
But I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine, I consider him to be a good friend. He's actually been on the show. And so I haven't invited very many of my people on the show. So if you go back over 3 years, you could probably figure out maybe who it is. But me and this cat have been thick for a number of years, and we've probably been good friends for 5 years before I found out that he dated one of my significant exes before I did. And that was, it was a little to process because I know him. You know what I'm saying? But I still, the maturity piece kicked in, Dave. It's like, hey, well, that was before me. That's part of her past. She has a right to her past. It still had to be processed, sure. But it ain't like I walked away like calling them both dirty bastards.
But Sean, you're not getting to the point. Have you ever met somebody that was an ex of your girl, your current girl, past girl, everything, and you look at him and be like, how did she do that?
Well, that's we all have looked at a member of somebody's account and been
What
like,
the hell was she thinking?
oh, dude,
Really?
look,
That's
Then I'm saying, hell, she wants me, so I don't really care.
I think I judge more on that than on the number.
Hey,
Sometimes
this
it's like
is a very transparent statement I'm getting ready to make. I dated somebody one time, and the entire relationship, she would go on and on about how handsome I was. And the person that she dated after me, I was like, I knew you was lying. I knew you was lying. Because the person she dated after me, my buddy Jones in Nashville would say, I've been looking at you a long time, and you either a really ugly woman or a pretty monster. Which one is it? Yeah. So and gender correct. That wasn't a Freudian slip.
I think women are deflecting. Like I see all the women in the thing. You can't handle it. You can't handle it.
Yeah.
So that
Everybody
covers up for them not
you
wanting
can't
to
handle
get a real
things they're
answer.
above 20. That's what it is. That's what's wrong.
Look. The reason they say you can't handle it because they know it's bad.
They know it's a bad number for them. Yeah,
it's abnormal, and that's why they say.
And I can honestly say myself, I personally dated somebody, and a relationship actually turned for the worse once I found out things about her body count. It wasn't the actual number that bothered me because I'm like, okay, they were before me, but it was how some of these numbers happened. Yeah. I said, wait, 2 of these numbers happened in one night at the same time? Right. I had to explain to her. She thought she had a threesome. I said, no, that's not a threesome. You said it was 2 guys.
3 in a row.
That wasn't I lost total interest in it that day, and the relationship ended shortly after because I couldn't handle it.
That was the night she found out she was an engineer.
Yeah, I said that's not a threesome, baby. Like they tricked you.
Oh my goodness! Somebody brought up the bisexual thing. Some men would count that as a bonus, June. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've actually dated more than
Adam did.
I don't have a problem saying I've dated more than one bisexual woman. That's not intimidating.
I think we've all dated bisexual women, whether we knew
it. Robert.
I tell you where
I did not prescribe to that.
You didn't know it.
That's the other part, Robert. You dated them and didn't know it.
You didn't know it.
but I will tell you what was unique about dating someone that has that capacity. If you're having a moment of frailty, because you're typically going to date somebody that you find attractive, so that as they move around, other people are going to find them attractive as well, right? You probably don't want somebody that nobody else thinks is attractive, right? But I remember having a moment where I was like, damn, I got to be concerned with both men and women when this heifer leaves. Like that's
you got competition coming from
competition on both sides.
Ways.
And it's always the really butch ones.
Right.
I might fight
you.
Yeah, I gotta say I've done some things.
Be careful, Dave. Be careful.
Yeah. My sofa's open.
I've done enough.
I live in the basement, brother, so I don't know if that's good.
I'm not in town, Dave. I would help you out, so be careful.
I'm just gonna give you a key on Thursday nights, Dave, and that way if you show up, I'm like, okay, brother, I understand.
I'm just keeping it real. I've done enough to grant some leniency to my partner because I'm a fair person like that. So
right.
When I think about it, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can't.
And
not me. I'm paced. Not me. I have
this.
pure.
I'm gonna say this at the risk of it coming back to bite me. I am quite uninhibited. So it's more than likely you're not gonna tell me anything that's gonna make me.
God, I had to do this with Mel. Here's the translation. What Sean is saying is he's a super freak. He's been a super freak for a number of years, and he's gonna stay a super freak.
That's what the estimate on his hat.
Right.
And it might be, Adam, and it might be wise for me to choose a super freak to ride off in the sunset with, because that way I don't have to
Yeah, because if you
die
Sean,
to myself, I don't have to die to myself.
what Sean says, if you bring tools, he's got a tool kit. So,
Hey man, this is a real story. One time, my nephew, love my nephew, shout out to Big at USC in film school, one of the two people I love the most in the whole wide world. He was here filming some stuff, and he used my bedroom to film one of his scenes. And of course, Adam, I'm not policing him. Like, yeah, man, do whatever you need to do. That dude came out and was like, well, when I saw what he was doing, I saw he had emptied out like an entire closet. And I was mortified. I said, oh my God, what has this boy come across? He gonna see his uncle very differently, And luckily, man, he just blindly picked up some things and moved them and didn't really pay much attention to what they were. My relationship with the church was strong in that moment. But
that's a whole question in itself. What's the weirdest thing your mama's found in your bedroom? We don't have to answer that tonight.
You don't? Oh, okay.
I would go the other way with it, man. I remember being a little boy and finding my parents' sex stuff.
Oh, were you scarred?
No, I was young enough that I was fascinated and warm in places I hadn't been warm before.
You was like, oh, cherry.
See, I made that mistake of going to my father's shoebox in his closet. It's stuff I found that to this day I don't have the balls to ask him about. Never happened.
One time,
but I look at my pops and I just be like, nasty. Nothing like you.
Well, then, like, Daddy, what is this? I'm gonna get me one though.
But it was old enough, man. That these were it was a stack of, and it's amazing to me that porn used to exist like this. But it was a stack of porn playing cards. It was almost like Polaroids, and back in that time, people weren't so body conscious or anything like that. So nobody in the pictures was attractive on either side. It was just the primitive nature of the pictures, But I'm looking at them like, oh my God, and then I got to put them back in the drawer like I haven't seen them, But I was fascinated. I have to.
That's the days of hair and cellulite.
Oh my God! All of that.
I don't know anything about that. Not that I know anything about that. I just
thank God for BBLs.
Real fat dudes with penises the size of baby legs. It was
oh my God. Production.
We just crossed the threshold, didn't we?
I think we did.
I appreciate y'all indulging me, man.
Let the record go at 10:33. This show went off the rails.
It's already 9:33, man. Adam, it goes fast. And let me take a minute now and ask everybody that's watching, thank you so much for these last 3 years and rocking with us. If you would take some time to copy the URL show and paste it into your social media, we would certainly appreciate it. We're trying to grow the show and get it sold, and we're getting some interest and looks, and so hopefully there'll be a time when you guys are checking us out on a much broader platform. That's the goal. And
we won't be showing this show though when we're trying to
that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, wait, we'll be showing other shows, not this one.
This won't be the one we pitch the networks with.
We won't be pitching this show.
Right, because they'll be beep, beep, beep.
Right. Hey man, this is gonna be a hard shift in gears, but I want to know, man, more specifically than the numbers in Georgia and Herschel Walker's dumbass and that kind of stuff. I want to know, man, real talk. Are you worried? Are you concerned, man, about the state of this country and the way things are? I mean, I had a conversation with somebody today, and I was like, we are we are close to slavery coming back with the shit that's happening.
Well, that's only in Florida.
Politically, yeah. But are you worried, man? Like I had some candid conversations today, man, about getting citizenship in other places and kind of preparing yourself for the need to leave America if you so felt that it was the best thing for you. And Glenn, I'm not only talking about the political piece of it, which we use you unapologetically as our political analyst, but I'm also talking about what the politics have done to the racial climate in this country, man. Are you guys worried? Because I'll go on record, man, and say I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm apprehensive. Um, I'm more distrusting of other people than I've ever been. And I just want to know, is it just me? Am I paranoid? Am I, or is this a realistic response to what we've been seeing? Glenn, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're, off track for being paranoid. I mean, before Tuesday's election, there was a lot of worry. It was a little bit scary about some of the people that were running, some of the people that were ahead in the polls, and just the whole climate. I mean, we've gone through an interesting string of like 36 months. We went from a pandemic, racial unrest, I should say, an election, and now we're at a midterm. Oh, and an election where a lie was spread about stolen elections and everything else, which forced a lot of different laws in a lot of different states to change because of that, which affected voters, which affected and suppressed some voters. We look at Florida, where they're banning books and they're arresting people who got out of jail and were able to vote. And I mean, there's just a lot that was going on. So it was very scary. Now, Tuesday actually proved that there is some sanity still left, given the results. A lot of the election deniers lost. The Republicans' Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Donald Trump, wasn't as powerful as they thought he was. But it's still a weird time. You look at Georgia, 90% of the evangelicals voted for Herschel Walker over an ordained minister who's dedicated his life to God. 90% of the people that identify themselves as saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost voted for an abortionist, woman abuser who can't string a sentence together without the help of like 10 teleprompters. A man that they asked about diabetes and medicine, and he told you just need to eat right. That was his answer. They voted for this man who's lied about everything, flashed a fake badge, and all this stuff. So I'm still worried about Georgia because you're about to elect the dumbest senator in history if he wins this runoff. So there's still some problems out there. But one thing that happened was Generation Z showed up and really voted. And whether your issue is abortion, racism, voter suppression, women's rights, or whatever it is, they showed up in droves and voted more than ever, giving this administration the best performance in a midterm in 20 some years.
Yeah.
So there's some hope. There's a glimmer of hope. Now, I'm not saying you don't need an exit plan, because I don't know what's going to happen the next 2 years, of what's going to be suppressed then and what's going to happen over the course of these next 2 years. Because one thing we've learned is that one group doesn't like to lose. So they'll do anything to change the rules to keep them from losing. It used to be whether you were Republican or Democrat, you lose, you congratulate your opponent, and you live to fight another day. Now it's about, let me gaslight, let me spread enough lies, let me convince people that this is wrong, let me raid the Capitol and basically try to overthrow the government to get the result I need and all of that. So that's still very scary. There's still a lot of those people out there. So
what's become okay in the pursuit of politics is sickening.
Yeah, gaslighting and lying have become acceptable if it's your candidate.
And I don't want to turn it down the race street.
No,
but somebody very close to me said something a year or two ago, because of course, especially in Georgia, white women voters are really getting attacked because of some of the choices that they have made. But I was told that white married women vote the interests of their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes they're not really voting what they may think or whatever. They're voting with their husbands.
See, I don't think any race or any group is a monolith. I think in certain areas, the South, that's true. I don't know that that's true in the North or the East or the West.
Yeah, I think it certainly would apply in a place like Georgia.
Yeah, I think it would apply in the South
more
so than it would in other.
Right, in Illinois.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And suburban voters are very important. That's kind of the swing vote right now. And suburban voters are not trusting the crazies. And Tuesday's elections prove that. They voted against a lot of the election denials, the gaslighting, and everything else. They voted for a little bit more stable government. And people can vilify and demonize you through the media and have you thinking that this is the worst administration ever, when actually they've gotten a lot done. And then we look at the jobs report today, and the market was up today because now inflation is starting to ease because of the results of what they've done with the Fed and what they've done to with the economy. So the next 2 years will be interesting. But there's this demification, demonizing. There's the media, the right-wing media has created a whole narrative about America and that it's burning down. And the people that follow them believe that. People asked me, I was at a dinner the other night and somebody was like, what's it like to live in Chicago? It's like really dangerous. And, you would have thought I was like running to my car every time I get home, from the airport or something, the way they made it sound.
Yeah. So is it, here's the question, guys. Is it important, because you mentioned this, Glenn, is it important that your partner vote, the way you vote, whether it be Democratic or
no
Republican?
I don't know that it's important, but I need to know that they make an informed decision. I don't have a problem I've voted for Republicans who I thought made sense. I've not voted for Democrats who I thought were crazy as hell. Because they're on both sides. There's some crazies, definitely. I've voted my interest. The more money you make, the more you see your taxes coming out, the more you start to think about that, the more conservative you become when it comes to that.
I think the unique thing, though, is that in our world, hate is not part of what we factor in to our vote.
Right.
And there is a population of people that vote their hate over their interests.
But what is interesting is there are people that voted for Obama that switched their vote to Trump. So it's not all about hate. It's about how you convince people how the world is going. If I can convince you that this world is falling down and going to hell, and I'm the only person that can fix it, then you're going to believe in me and whatever I say. And
is that a fear tactic?
Yeah, it's absolutely a fear tactic. It's fear. It's gaslighting. It's saying, look at what's happening in Chicago and New York and LA and all these big cities, and look at what they're doing. They leveraged the racial unrest to spread fear to small town America. It was leveraged, definitely. And when we think about that, we have to be careful about who we support and what we support, because we always wanted allies when it came to George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, and we need to come to the defense of people when it comes to anti-Semitic comments and things like that. You have to be the ally you want people to become for you. And I think we have to be careful with that too.
Yeah. Right before we went live, man, I don't know if any of you guys have heard this, but right before we went live, I got a message saying that construction at the Obama Library had stalled because they found a noose hanging in the work area. So
nothing surprises me anymore, honestly.
Yeah, once Roe v. Wade was turned back, man, I'm like, they'll be trying to reverse slavery next.
Right, but you got to understand, 70% of America, there's for all the Senate and everything else, and I always talk about voting and judges and everything else because it's so important. because you look at a lot of the laws, including abortion, it was because of the vote, because people didn't show up to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the America is governed by a group of senators that only represent a fraction of this country.
Yeah.
You know, the population of Wyoming isn't even as big as Chicago. Population of Montana and Idaho and all those are 6, 8, 10 votes for Senate, for Supreme Court and things like that. So voting is so important. And people who talk about revolution and all that and don't vote are really full of mess. They've just full of.
But here's the thing on top of that, Glenn, and this is the reason I asked that question about, you know, your household, is it divided if your partner is Republican and you're Democratic? You know, when we go to vote, sometimes, a lot of times, do people really know the judges and keep up with the history of what those judges have voted on? And because that's a lot of work.
Right?
Man, historically, every time I hit the polls, I go, damn, I wish I'd have done more.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of it too. But you need to, it's right duty privilege. Voting is your right. Voting is your duty, and voting is a privilege because people have died for that. People, real blood was shed to allow us to walk up to a poll without being intimidated, beaten, hosed, shot, killed. People that look like us and some people that didn't look like us. There's a lot of people, and I talk about the Jewish thing because there were a lot of Jewish people that supported the civil rights movement and died for it. If you've ever seen Selma, at the end, they talk about a lady who died. She was a mother who came down by herself and somebody ran off the road and killed her right after that. You know, 2 of the 3 gentlemen that were killed, the young men that were killed, were 2 Jewish men. Schwerner and I forgot the other one's name. They were killed with James Chaney. They were murdered on the side of the road at night. They were helping people register to vote in the South. So people that look like us and people that didn't look like us made it vote. So it's my, you know, I take it seriously because I feel like it's Google. I can Google a lot of information on somebody that's running. And find out. So it's not a hard lift to do that. You know?
Or Siri.
Hey man, listen, this has probably been the fastest show in 3 years. We got about 13 minutes left, and that's because y'all clown so bad the first 30 minutes. But I want to switch it up, Dave. Adam, I know politics isn't anything you really are heavy into discussing, and Dave, I apologize for not getting to you if you had anything you wanted to share, man. But I want to switch gears before we get out of here, man. And I was thinking about the fact that terms like sexist and toxic are always applied to men. Always applied to men. And I want to know if you guys can think of things that are toxic or / sexist that are toxic and sexist toward men, but are accepted by society as the norm. Toxic and sexist towards us, but accepted by society as the norm. I would think just to give you a lob, I would think that some of the culture around, you know, what men finance for women could be seen by some as sexist or sexist is one thing. I define something as toxic when you can weaponize it. Once you have the ability to weaponize it, to me, then you can use it in a toxic fashion, if that makes sense. But that's
the first thing I thought about was men's wages or earnings. You know, just if you're making not as much as a woman or not as much as people think that you're supposed to, societal standards or whatever, then you can get clowned for that. And the truth of the matter is, it's not.
I saw a video this week where a lady was married to a professional athlete, and she was boldly saying she doesn't work. His money is my money, and I spend it as I please. And I spend it because I have sex with him when he wants, and that gives me the ability to spend his money as I want. Now, if that's your agreement, that's fine. But if that's your mindset, that's toxic, right? That's for me, right? Adam, what do you think, brother?
My thing is this: I seen that same video, and you know, she bragged about he makes the money, I spend it. He made that decision when he married me. So truth be told, that's that man's problems.
Right.
But
And
in
it's true.
turn, let me say I'm quitting my job. My woman is so successful. She just became the CEO of her own company. And I spend her money because what's hers is mine. What are they going to say about me? He's a bum. He's a loser, a user. But a woman, oh no, you got a good man.
Hey, Adam, I have dated a woman who made more money than me. And this is what I say. I don't even blame them because society has created that monster. And so if the woman isn't grounded enough to not weaponize that, a part of me sees her as a bit weak, right? But I don't blame her. I wish she had a deeper level of insight when it came to that. And I'm out of there. Like, I'm not hanging around for that foolishness, right? Because we all know whatever you think you're standing on can change in a weekend. It's happened for me. I've had my salary tripled from Friday to Monday. So what you're standing on is temporary. It's gonna last if you're lucky, but oftentimes it's temporary. So if all of your eggs are in that basket, what are you going to do when that basket tips over? And then you're going to be the one that wants to be seen with a certain degree of compassion and seen for the qualities that you bring other than that thing. You know what I'm saying? Robert, what do you think, man?
I've not had that problem, Sean.
Because you make so much money, you ain't never dated nobody made more money than you because your pocket's so long.
We both made equally the same amount of money, and but I have experienced, because people always have this view of money, and money divides all kinds of relationships and marriage. We know that 80% of divorces are filed by women, and in most cases, those divorces are as a result of money issues. It has nothing to do with infidelity. Don't let social media deceive you. It's really about our view of money, and when you have a good woman in your corner, if you're both making great money, and you asked her for $8,000, just I'm making up 8,000, but a substantial amount of money, and she tells you better get the hell out of here, then you've got challenges. But
hey, man, I had the unique experience, and to me, this is where you really come to understand it. I had the unique experience of my partner getting the money increase during the life of the relationship. So it went from us both being modestly paid to them being tremendously paid. And not only did their lens change, but the lens of her circle changed. So now not only is she struggling with trying to be grounded enough to not weaponize it, she has people in her ear telling her it's time for you to upgrade. It's time for you to upgrade. So that's why it's a lot more complicated than people realize when you talk about that particular thing. But on the flip side, it's a reasonable expectation for men, right? So we're never challenged, Adam, to know how to navigate it because we're kind of supposed to come with it. We're expected to be equipped with it. But then when it's reversed, a lot of times because it's seen as a male strength, then your male space starts to be challenged.
Well, we're expected, Sean. I hear you on that, and I understand where you're coming from. But we're expected to be, lovers, protectors, and in the breadwinners, right?
Sure.
In that breadwinning perspective, and particularly, Dave, I'm sure you could talk to this being married, is that when we let others inside of our families, whether it be our families and in friends and things like that, they start getting in each other's ears in a negative way because sometimes there's some jealousy that's going on, and they don't want to see you successful or happy.
It might not even be jealousy, Robert. It could just be their baggage.
Oh,
They're speaking
absolutely.
to their baggage.
Yeah, where they come
giving
from.
it to you, and they're thinking that it should be applied with this wide stroke, this brush stroke to your life.
Yeah,
and it doesn't apply. And if you're not strong, you'll allow somebody to define your life through their lens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happens a lot of times. And I think it happens a lot with the money piece and that kind of thing, because ultimately that's how we get defined a lot of times.
We do.
You can be the best guy in the world, and that thing is not what they think it should be. You're a piece of, shit. And then the tragedy is that a lot of women live long enough to learn that that's a skewed view, but the damage is done by then. You've already dismissed somebody that would have pushed you around in a wheelchair if you got sick, because they couldn't pay all your bills, and that's what you thought you deserved. Yeah. Which is a whole nother conversation. I think we've become a culture that's started to define what we think we deserve in a very skewed kind of way. But that's just me and what I think. Hey man, we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. This was fast and fun and amazing. And Adam, you don't have any relatives in Memphis, do you?
No.
Okay, I got a friend and frat brother in Memphis with the same last name. He's actually my brother's line brother.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to ask about body counts or something in Memphis. That's why I thought you asked that question.
No.
I thought he was trying to find a wife.
Right.
Hey, Dave, I saw the pictures of Adam tatted with no shirt on. I guarantee you his body count is healthy. He might try to deny it. Right. He didn't even walk down before.
I am a saint.
You're saying?
I agree. Me too, Adam. I agree.
Yeah, but it ain't SAINT, Dave. He's spelling it some other way. It's not SAINT. Hey, man, anything anybody want to share, man, before we get out of here? Adam, I'm already, man, looking for you to get back with us, man, and hang out with us again, man. We really enjoyed your presence. I'm fascinated, man, by what you do and the way you've married those things in terms of your truck driving career, your love for cooking. I think all of that, man. I think it's it's a real cool marriage, man. I applaud you, man, for being able to take, things that you love and are passionate about and create a dynamic, with those things, man. So I'm looking forward, man, to having you back. Glenn, I didn't miss you in the weeks that you were gone. So
you did.
It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, man, to have to stare at your face tonight. Dave, man, we love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it, man. We're excited every time your name is mentioned as somebody, man, being on the show and kicking it with us. You bring a certain peace, man, and I feel like most of us are a little more seasoned than you in age. But
speak for yourself, Sean.
Speak for yourself. I'm young.
Speak for yourself, Sean. I'm the youngest person on the show.
Rob, you got Jesus' beeper number, whatever.
No, Robert knows Moses because they were in school together and there was a line and Moses stuck out his ruler and the line divided. He was practicing for something else greater.
Robert got Moses' email number, email address in his phone right now. Matter of fact,
hey, Sean, we want to see you take your hat off so we see how old you are.
Everybody know I'm old.
It ain't no secret about how old Sean is.
Yeah, but I usually have on a lid, Adam. I decided to go with my Syracuse hat. Shout out to my man Lou Lombardo, man, whose son is a student at Syracuse, who gifted me this hat, man. But hey, man, look, love y'all. Adam, don't leave. We're gonna meet back in the green room after the show. So when we sign off, don't leave. Everybody that's been with us, man, we appreciate you for the last 3 years. Like we say all the time, this wouldn't be a show if you guys didn't tune in and hang out with us and tell us stuff. Big Dave, what you got?
One thing real quick, Black Panther 2 coming out tonight, tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all go out, make it big, make it huge. Y'all know how they do. So,
hey man, I heard they already are having problems with the internet ticket purchases because the response is so overwhelming. So
shut it
I
down.
definitely want to see it this weekend. But I'm a movie watcher, man, so I want to be able to sit in it and focus on it and not be distracted by my surroundings or whatever. So yeah, but
stop
definitely.
dressing like you're from Coming to America. It's the wrong movie. Okay, quit that. Okay.
No, I mean a lot of people, man, talking to the screen, and I heard it's gonna be a lot of crying and weeping, and So.
Stop wearing them fake lions and stuff. Halloween is over, y'all. Just go see the damn movie.
That's it.
Dressing.
Hey, they actually banned costumes where I'm at. You cannot wear costumes to the movie theater.
Really?
Oh, you can't.
Kidding.
They banned them in Wisconsin and Milwaukee at the AMC, the IMAX. You cannot wear costumes, and that started when what was that movie came out? The number 2 to Coming to America came.
Yeah,
all the black folks showed up and dashikis,
yeah, but
lions.
I know we're out of time, Adam, but I want to know why. Like, what's the harm? What is that about?
Because the movie theater is in Wauwatosa, and it's nothing but we not there. And they seen all of us come out there. They said, "Oh, this won't happen again."
Right. Right.
Wow. They can actually do that, man. They can actually tell you what you can wear to the movie theater.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, dude, I'd go and watch it in another damn state. Like, what's the closest state line? Let me put on all my stuff.
I'm coming to LA. Ladies, I'm coming to LA to watch the movie there.
No, he didn't say ladies. I'm coming to LA.
Yeah, he did.
He said ladies, didn't he?
And he leaned in.
Body count, Adam. Speaking of body count. Hey, man, love y'all. Don't leave. Everybody watching, thank you all so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this show as much as I did. I thought this was a really great show. And until next Thursday, Fred Kincaid, I see you, homeboy. Until next Thursday at 9, it's been live from the cave for sure.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.
Kincaid.
Yo, great show, man.
Good show, y'all. Good show.
Yo, okay, Adam, did you share the link I sent you?
I think I might have messed up and shared the wrong one.
I'm getting Missy and Kissy. Hey, Missy's on here right now. Missy, if you're not going to show your face.
Here's my defense. I told him that for the audience, it's a separate link. I told you, Adam.
She's
behind the scenes link.
Missy, get out of here. I kicked you out twice. The show's over.
Coming back.
Go home.
Hey, Missy. Hey, Missy.
Is Missy showing her face?
I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Hey, but to Adam's defense, Rod, you did that one time, and then you backed out of it.
Did he really?
I saw it. Yeah, I never said anything, but he shared it and then he pulled it back and sent us another link.
Oh wow!
My
That
fault.
was a good show, though, guys. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man, you were awesome, man.
Here comes Jessica. Jessica, the show's over. Go watch the replay.
That's your body count, Adam. Okay.
Your body kind of fills up in weird places sometimes.
Right? Oh,
Hey, man, that first 30 minutes was bananas.
Man.
Hey, Adam, here's the thing, man. Like, I try to surprise them with subject matter because I don't want them to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
You know, some stuff is better if you don't get a chance to study and try to figure out what politically you want to say, you know, and you just speak in an organic fashion. And I kind of never know, man, what's gonna light fire, you know. A couple of weeks ago, man, I had something that I asked. I don't even remember what it was. All I remember was that it almost dominated the entire show. I didn't know it was going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to think of something, man, that's going to be cool to talk about, but sometimes it'll grow legs, whether it's humor or emotion. I think it might have been the